You know, sometimes what you're looking for is right underneath your nose the entire time. Sometimes what you are searching for is right in front of your face. And you don't even realize it. You're too busy overthinking everything because you're thinking it has to be complex. This is going to take some great investigative work. This is going to take a lot of research. This is going to take a lot of time to put the puzzle pieces exactly where they belong to complete this puzzle. But in reality, it's not that complex. It's right in front of your face. The answer is right in front of you. You see, the longest time BC has been talking about WWE tightening up their ship because it looks like they're ready to sell that company at any given time. With all the releases that have been happening over the past year plus, and the departments in Stamford, Connecticut either being demolished and gotten rid of or being meshed together, every move that was being made is what you would do if you're getting ready to sell the company, right? In fact, it wasn't just BC. BC is the first one that sounded the alarm, and then everybody started to think about it. Everybody. Any reputable son of a bitch that knew what they were talking about, they said, damn, after doing our research, BC's right. This is what you do for a sale. And then they kept making the same decisions. 3 different times in 2021, we saw the same decisions being made. The cuts, the releases, trying to get that bottom dollar for WWE to be exactly where they want it to be, to make it sellable, to make it look sexy to a potential buyer. Stamford, Connecticut, tightening up that ship. In fact, they want to get a nice new building. There's going to be a new Titan Tower. They're going to make it all pretty. It's going to be in a nice district. It's going to be able to hold a lot more offices that have nothing to do with WWE. Makes you think, right? They want buyers to come in and not just have to feel like they're obligated to just WWE. Any other business venture will be right there at your headquarters. Damn! They're going to have that right there for the potential buyer. Everything they were doing. So I'll save you a long song and dance and I'll get right to the fucking point. BC's thinking, what's causing all of this? As Ric Flair used to say. What's causing all of this? And the answer the whole time was right in front of BC. You just gotta follow the timeline. You see, The Rock in August of 2020 bought the XFL from Vince McMahon, Vincent Kennedy McMahon's baby. As stubborn as this old man is from Stamford, Connecticut, the first time that XFL fell flat on its face, this dude was so stubborn, and this dude was so into making the XFL work, so into giving the NFL a punch right in the dome piece that he spent hundreds of millions of dollars to reinvigorate the brand, to try to find a lifeline in that entire brand, to try to find a pulse in the XFL. And it fell flat again for the second time. And because of the pandemic, he was able to kind of find an out, kind of save face so he doesn't look like an absolute clown for the second time, right? He could save face a little bit. Oh, it's because it was trying times. But you know damn well Vince was not going to give up that fucking easy. There has to be a catch. The Rock. That's his man. Don't think for 1 second they're not in cahoots. Don't think for 1 second The Rock isn't coming back for WrestleMania LA 2023 against Roman Reigns. They've already been in talks. The Rock has already stated time after time that he is WWE in his veins. They're boys. The Rock gets some investors together and they purchase the XFL, and Vince McMahon is totally fine with it. Vince McMahon doesn't have a word to say other than congratulations, Rock. Best of luck, my ass. Nah, that's no coincidence that The Rock purchased the XFL right underneath Vince McMahon's nose. Vince McMahon is not done with the XFL, not by a long shot. That same month, August 2020, that we find out The Rock has, with a group of investors, purchased the XFL, that same exact month, a guy by the name of Nick Kahn is hired as the chief revenue officer, basically the financial guru for Vince McMahon, and we're all like, who the fuck are you, bro? We were all accustomed to George Barrios. We know who George Barrios is. That's the chief financial strategist for WWE. Who is this Nick Kahn dude? We all started to find out pretty quickly this dude meant business. Release after release after release. Everything was about the bottom dollar. He went over to Stanford and he gutted that son of a bitch. He gutted the entire staff. He meshed departments together. It was clear to BC, who follows Fortune 500 companies all the time, that this was a strategic plan to get this thing looking sexy as fuck for a sale. It wasn't that hard to realize. At first, people were trying to fight me on it, and then they realized, oh, BC's right. After doing my research, this is gearing up for a sale. Immediately, in August of 2020, we started to see shit unfold. And in 2021, unfortunately, all those people getting released from WWE, and it was 10 months after Nick Kahn. So The Rock buys the XFL August 2020. That same exact month, Nick Kahn happens to become chief revenue officer. 10 months later, in June of 2021, Nick Kahn promoted to the board of directors. Damn! That was quick! Something's going on behind that. That was damn quick! This relative unknown for WWE and Vince McMahon, and in just 10 months' time, he was a prominent member and role in the board of directors. Damn! Then we find out that The Rock and Nick Kahn are boys from their childhood. Good buddies. Best buddies growing up. The Rock and Nick Kahn. We don't find this out until just a few months ago. The world finds this out. You didn't think to tell somebody this? Anybody? Vince, like a ha-ha story? Nick Kahn, in all the interviews that he's given, he's never said, oh yeah, The Rock was actually my buddy. The Rock never thought to mention this? The fuck you keeping so secretive, bro? Or is now the time you're gonna tell everybody because you know something is in the works? I bring all this up because Nick Kahn is once again in the rounds, causing everybody to make a stir about WWE selling, because Nick Kahn has confirmed yet again, yes, they are taking phone calls for a sale. He says, but we're not actively looking to sell. That's horseshit, horse malarkey for, we don't want to cause a panic and make our investors, our shareholders, even our fans think that we're off the hinges. We're going to sell at any minute. We don't want you to think that. We're not actively looking to sell, but we're taking all the phone calls. This is a very, very important Italian leather jacket to BC. I'm not going to sell this no matter what amount of money somebody could offer me. This holds a lot of value that's more than just financials to BC. This is not for sale. This particular pair of Oakleys, yes, these would be for sale. These are multi-$100 sunglasses, but I'll sell them for double the price. But I have a pair of limited edition Green Bay Packer Oakleys and limited edition New York Yankee Oakleys. very special to BC for many reasons. You could offer me double, triple, you could offer me $10,000 you're not getting. The Green Bay Packer or New York Yankee Oakleys. I'm not going to sell them ever because they mean more than financials to BC. There's stories behind them in me purchasing them. So I would not be taking phone calls. I wouldn't be taking offers if I'm not actively looking to sell them. Just doesn't make sense. I'm not selling jack shit, but let's have a meeting. Let's have a Zoom. BC, you'd be an idiot not to listen to offers. That's my point. That's exactly my point. You're right. You'd be an idiot not to listen to offers if you're willing to sell at any moment. That's my point. That's what Nick Kahn was brought in to do. And now BC understands exactly why. Why they're fielding all these phone calls. Why now more than ever as Vince gets older, and Vince does not like the word wrestling. He doesn't like wrestling at all, let's be honest. He wants to do the football thing. He wants to make that work. This dude is that stubborn that he wants to make the XFL work. The only way to do that at that time, to get out of all the investment that his investors have put into that shit, the XFL, and it failed, the only way to get out was to have somebody that he trusts really, really big time. Somebody that he trusts more than anyone else or right there with his family. Somebody like The Rock. And The Rock was able to take that from Vince. Vince was able to suffer all the loss but not take any of the hit. And in the future, Vince can always now get it back from The Rock and his investors. Or mesh his way back to the top of the XFL role. Which is what Vince wants, man. It's what he wants more than anything. It's not pro wrestling. It's not the WWE. He's past that shit. He doesn't give a shit about handing that down to Stephanie McMahon or Shane McMahon or Triple H. He doesn't give a fuck. And BC thought the entire time that Nick Kahn was just brought in to tidy up the ship and make it sexy for a potential sale to anybody out there in the world. But it was right in front of BC's face, man. The answer was right there. More than anything, Nick Kahn was brought in to make it sexy and sellable to himself and The Rock. And of course, a group of investors, because The Rock's net worth from anywhere from $500 million to $800 million, plus Nick Kahn's measly $1 million, is not going to cut it. You would still have to have investors, but it would be helmed by The Rock and Nick Kahn. It was right in front of me the entire fucking time. If I just followed the timeline, BC. They're childhood friends. Vince McMahon knows he's in a world of shit with the XFL, but he knows that he doesn't want to give it up long term. So The Rock comes in. Vince files for XFL. The Rock comes in, takes the XFL. Nick Kahn, that same week, starts as the chief revenue officer for WWE, the childhood best friend of The Rock. Within just 10 months, he's on the board. Within that first year, all of the cuts, the departments being depleted, thrown to the wayside, meshed together. NXT, completely repackaged, colorful. It's ready. It's ready for the investors to get on board with Nick Kahn and The Rock. Look at our product over here. This is NXT. This is just a third brand. Now look how colorful and fun it is. That can attract, right? This is just a third brand. Don't you want to be a part of this? All of this was being done for a sale. That's obvious. Nobody can argue that who knows business. It wasn't a personal vendetta against Vince McMahon's son-in-law, even though I know it seems that way. No, this is business 101. But little did we know, and BC is upset with himself because I should have known this. It was more than anything for The Rock, for Nick Kahn himself, and for the investors that they want to bring on board It'll be The Rock, it'll be Nick Kahn, and it'll be a group of investors with them that end up buying WWE sooner rather than later. It's gonna happen, mark my words. This isn't a conspiracy theory, man. We've known for the longest time. And what is bringing up this topic now? BC, why are we talking about this now? First, well, you can point the finger at Nick Kahn, who brought all this up yet again in an interview he just conducted. In the last 24 hours, it broke out to everybody. And he's confirmed, he's admitted, yes, we're taking phone calls for a potential sale, but we're not actively looking to sell. Well, that's a bunch of fucking horseshit. Everything you have done since you've been hired is to tidy that son of a bitch up to make it sellable. That's obvious. And then you take phone calls for all the work that you've done. And then you say, but we're not actively looking to sell. That is fucking horseshit. That's like having a kid, putting it up on eBay, and when people call, you entertain the offer, and then you tell everyone you're not actively looking to sell your kid. Then what the fuck is your kid up on eBay for? Well, I'm not actively looking to sell, I'm just listening to offers. You did all that work, you did all the sexy time, you went through the pregnancy, you put a fucking bow on his head and you put him up on eBay. A family's looking for a kid to adopt. You entertained the offer. You didn't like it. You hung up the phone, and then you told everybody you're not actively looking to sell your kid. Stop it. If you're fucking married, are you taking phone calls for a new wife? Or are you gonna say, I'm not actively looking for a new wife? Which is it? You can't play both sides, man. You're not actively looking to sell, but but we're having meetings. We're talking. Sounds pretty active. And BC thought the entire time that it was just for somebody else, maybe an NBC, Universal, Comcast, maybe Disney. No. After a while, BC started thinking, okay, no, it's going to be The Rock, I bet. I bet you The Rock is going to get some investors. No, the answer, it was an inside job the entire time. It was Nick Kahn, who's going to be right there with The Rock leading the investors. The Rock and Nick Kahn, mark my words, are going to purchase WWE. And they're taking phone calls like Nick Kahn said. Oh yeah, he's protecting his ass. He's going to admit that and confirm that now so he doesn't have to retract this a year from now. Why weren't you honest with us a year ago that this was all unfolding with you and The Rock and your investors? And he's going to say, I told you. Don't you remember January of 2022 when I told you guys, I confirmed, I admitted that we are taking phone calls. I may not have said that I was a primary influencer in it all. One of the main guys in actually purchasing. But I just didn't want to give too much detail. But I did confirm that talks were being made. This is him protecting his own ass. The Rock saved Vince McMahon by taking the XFL, making sure that nobody else could. And he got his investors, and it's protected right now. The XFL is there for Vince McMahon. When WWE is when Vince has all this fucking money, he can retake that over. The Rock, of course he's got the football roots, and he's going to set plans for the XFL, because you never know when Vince is actually going to sell. So The Rock is not just going to sit on the sidelines and let it rot. He doesn't want to do that for Vince. So The Rock will get that shit up and going, but The Rock, more to him, especially for his father, owning WWE, for a guy like The Rock, who has all the fucking money, has all the accolades, if you can own the place that you didn't even know if you were gonna make it in, if you can own the place where your father, man, once graced, and you followed in his footsteps, and now you own that shit. If you can become the boss, if you can become the Vince McMahon, that's going to mean so much more to the fucking Rock. And they put the money guy, his best friend, Nick Kahn from childhood, right in there. The same fucking week that The Rock saved Vince McMahon and protected the XFL for when Vince is ready, that same week, The Rock's best friend, Vince, one hand washes the other. I'll do this. You put my guy in charge of this because he can help get us to where we want to be. One hand washes the other, man. They are in cahoots. There is something big going on. This ain't no fucking conspiracy. Come back probably within a fucking year's time. Maybe 2. But come on back. When we start up this discussion again, you're going to come back and you're going to say, damn, BC, you were fucking right all along. I don't do these videos. You guys know this, man. I don't do these videos unless a lot of thought went into it. And I started fucking looking at every angle. And there's a lot more on the timeline. This can only be a fucking half an hour video, man. Tops. I can't make this a 2-hour video, man. We got a lot of traveling to do. We're in the sexy Lexi, obviously. Not in the Lexa Bliss. Lexus. We up in the Lexus. We got some traveling to do. So there's a lot more timeline I wish I could go over with you, man, just so you guys could break it down, but I'd probably bore you. I'm a numbers guy, and I like the behind the scenes in business. I just like every business aspect because it just smartens me up to just everything business, and I just love it, but I know a lot of you guys would probably be bored of it, so I'm just giving you guys the main timeline just to see that something's up with The Rock, Nick Kahn, and Vince McMahon. And the timeline proves that, man. Rock takes over XFL. His buddy is basically taking over WWE that same week financially. And then Vince McMahon just gave him the entire reins. Do whatever you need to do, man, to make us even more profitable, to make us more sexy for the investors that you need to help you guys purchase. I think Vince knows. I know for a fact, man, and I will end up being right on this. Unless something drastic changes last second, or people change their mind, or a plan falls through, a fucking relationship follows through. Falls through, not follows through. That's the only way that this would go off the rails for these three. Vince knows he's getting accelerated in his age. Vince knows that his focus is no longer pro wrestling. Vince knows that he can, or he thinks that he can compete with the NFL. I just don't think it's possible. The NFL is too powerful. But, this is one of those situations where, stay tuned. Stay tuned. This ain't no conspiracy, bro. Something's up with these three. It's going to be The Rock, Nick Kahn. The answer was right in front of BC the entire time why Nick Kahn was doing this so aggressively. And then we found out that him and The Rock were fucking buddies. And then we found out the exact time frame when The Rock got the XFL and he went over there. And then he went to the board of directors fucking 10 months later. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? And he's got full reign of WWE as if he's running the company. We've never seen this with Vince. Vince has yes men. Vince has his ass kissers like Triple H, Johnny Laurinaitis, Kevin Dunn, Brucey Pritchard. He's got a shit ton of yes men. Any decision they make, they'll be right back to work the next day. Schnozzes up Vince's ass. But we've never seen somebody like Nick Kahn, not even George Barrios, who was the chief financial strategist for Vince McMahon for many years, but Vince always was telling him exactly what needs to be done. Nick Kahn has full reign. Sounds like a guy who already owns WWE. Ric Flair used to say, what's causing all of this? BC is making a bold statement, not just prediction. The Rock and Nick Kahn are causing all of this. Stay tuned. Things are going to get real fucking interesting with the sale of WWE. Nick Kahn recently, again, what made this video possible and made me think even harder about what is going on until I finally came to my conclusion. This was all made because of Nick Kahn himself confirming that they're taking calls. Yeah, I bet. From people that you need to help you invest. And then he says, but we're not actively looking to sell. Actually, I kind of believe that too. You're not looking to sell to anyone else. You and The Rock, you're taking phone calls for investors. That's what we're going to hear in the next year or two. Mark my words, man. It's happening. It's happening right now as we fucking speak. The plans are in fucking motion. You think that was the last of the cuts and releases? Wait till after WrestleMania, brah. I'm hearing big shit. That's it. I gotta down this coffee, get another one, and hit the road, man. Thanks for joining me for this impromptu vid. Keep your eyes open, man. Keep your ears open for any fucking information. Make your own timeline. you're going to go, damn, BC's onto something here, bro. I'm out, guys. Think, be, live, amplified. And until next time, check you later, BC. And I'm out.